And
We are alive.
we got so much going on. I don't know where to start. Most important thing is I probably don't know where to stop. But let's begin. Let's begin with what's going on in Iran, because there's a lot of turmoil about that, similar to the turmoil about the president saying that he was going to use force in taking Greenland, which of course today he made clear he's not, which makes all the 50,000 articles written by the Trump haters irrelevant today.
Right.
About how he would create World War II and how this is a really stupid thing to do and how nobody will ever like him again. And it made it impossible for any of these people, who are largely intelligent people, to focus on the simple question. Forget the United States for a second. Forget Denmark. You can't forget Greenland. It's their country, after all. But since we are, with all the messing around we're doing, we are allies, at least as against Russia, China, and hopefully the Muslim threat. What's the best solution? I mean, this is the thing that Democrats never do. They never sit back and say, oh, gee, of these three possibilities, which is the best for America? So now let's sit back and not say just what is best for America. Let's say what's best for the free world. And I thought the president today was brilliant in showing you how he plays chess. Because while he had everybody going after the force thing and making jackasses out of themselves, not realizing that he throws fakes all the time, he made a brilliant case. I think one you cannot rebut. Nobody can secure Greenland the way we can. And that they've had time to do it, and they've proven just how incompetent they are. We gave Greenland back to them at the conclusion of the Second World War, and since then, they've run it down, they've abused it. They've participated in forced sterilization of the native Inuit women, probably because the population was costing them too much money and they wanted to reduce it. And they certainly haven't either developed it to the extent that even basic humanity would say you should, nor have they made it into much of a defensive facility, except for what we've done. So now, if your life depends on it, meaning to stop a Russian, a Chinese, or Muslim attack, who would you rather have, having thought out, built up, and put the most modern defensive and surveillance equipment there? A country that doesn't know a damn thing about war, that we had to go bail out of the Second World War? Or the countries that want to help them, like the ones that went there for their maneuvers and the German army left in 2 hours because they forgot it's really cold there? Or would you rather have what is, I think, undeniably the most sophisticated military force on the planet and in the history of the planet, which could integrate it very, very clearly in a overall Golden Dome program that would protect not just the United States, but all of Western civilization, because that's what we're really fighting for. And I thought the president, when he moved off the force part, did a brilliant job of making that case, and they're still fighting it. And there was some talk, Ted, and I want you to look for this. It might come out while we're here. There was some talk that they reached a resolution. I'd like to. I doubt it. I think this is a little bit of an overly optimistic leak, but who knows? I mean, he really faked them great. So before we put Mike Lindell on, who we're about to put on, I want to show you a play from last night. It was last night, right? Last night's game. 2 nights ago game of Fernando Mendoza. Ted will get to explain it to you in more detail from a football point of view later. But this is a physical representation of what Trump did this morning to all of the stuffy, impossible to deal with, smarter than God diplomats he was talking to. He faked them out of their jock straps, if they wear jock straps, or they need to wear jock straps. I don't know. But take a look at what Mendoza does. This is a 4th down, right?
4th and 5.
4th and 5. They can kick a field goal. A field goal would have given them, well, a field goal would have given them a 6-point lead with how much left? About 102 or something?
No, there was still 9 minutes left in the game.
This is earlier. Okay. Yeah. A field goal would have given them a lead, but this gave them a much more commanding lead. But now how many? It was 4th and 4, right? 4th and 5. Now you would normally kick a field goal here, right?
Yes.
Or you throw a pass. Right. Let's watch it.
He's going to take off and run. Mendoza weaves his way first and go diving toward the end. He's going to take
There's
off
Trump.
and run. Mendoza
Fake 1, fake 2, major fake. Now he's in Greenland.
He's going to take off and run. Mendoza weaves his way first and go diving toward the end zone. Touchdown!
Amazing.
And now I want to tell you why that was another brilliant call. If I recall correctly, on that series, they had several 3rd and long and 4th and critical.
Yeah.
And on each occasion, Mendoza made it with a pass.
Right.
So one would think that this was going to be a pass.
Right.
Because he had been unerring. I don't know what his numbers were in the earlier part of the game, but in the 4th quarter, I don't think he missed a 3rd or 4th down pass to keep the ball. And some of them were extraordinarily tough with a great deal of pressure on them. And some of them were short ones that would pretty much match throwing in the end zone. Now, I haven't watched him all season except hear about him. He's a Heisman Trophy winner. I just showed you his running ability. The guy's passing ability is better than that. He's a magnificent passer. And he is a big, strong guy. It is hard to take that guy down. If he wasn't the number 1 choice going in, that just made him the number 1 choice, no matter what happens, unless, God forbid, he gets injured. And we'll talk a little more about the game because Indiana was definitely both the underdog was not the underdog this season, but is the underdog because somewhere I read they have the most losing record in football. That can't be. That must be in the Big Ten.
In all of college football, in all 100 and something
with all
Division I programs, Indiana may are.
But they got to be teams around that are really for
not in the Division I Power 5 football, right? We're talking of this is the Big Ten, SEC, the big programs. They're the most losing program out of the big, what's considered Division I Power 5 programs.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
And now that makes sense. I thought you meant they have the most losing record in Division I football.
Yeah, among the Power 5 Division I, which is still
now. What does that mean? I mean, that doesn't mean all. That doesn't mean all of Division I.
Right.
It means what you
Division I. When your average fan thinks Division I football, that's Power 5 Division I because there's the.
Is there anybody else?
Yeah.
Is there anybody else in Division I other than part of the Power 5?
Yes.
How many? Not too many.
I'd have to look.
Notre Dame, right?
But they are considered Division I Power 5, even though they're not in the Power 5.
Yeah, but they are considered Division I as a sort of an exception, right?
Right.
Exactly. What about Army and Navy? Are they in a conference? They used to be at various times. They keep going in and going out of conferences.
schools like James Madison, Boise State, Coastal Carolina, they're considered Division I college football, but they're not
Is there anyone that's particularly
independent. So Army,
really
Navy
good the way Notre Dame has been, or even in the past, Army and Navy?
Sure. So, sorry, what is the question?
The question is power or whatever. Are there any independents, let's call them, right,
Notre Dame.
that are really good? You know,
I would say Notre Dame.
yeah, well, Army and Navy are pretty good too. I mean,
Army used to be good.
and Navy used to be good,
Used to, yeah.
but at times, I mean, even Houston can be. Just a couple of years ago, Navy was good.
Yeah, I mean, they. Yes, I think they were
used
top
to be
25.
on the Notre Dame schedule until it became silly.
Yeah.
And Navy, Navy has been ranked.
Yeah, and they would beat them once in a while because of the type of offense they run. But Indiana, you look as a Michigan.
Indiana just got also socked around because they played in the Big Ten.
Yeah,
and the Big Ten is
Ohio State, Michigan,
the Big
Penn
Ten
State
has traditionally been one of the best conferences, right?
Right. They've won the last 3 national championships.
But in the past, there was a while in which the SEC dominated everybody. In fact, the theory was the SEC was better than the NFL, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But, people would say that, right?
I guess SEC people, I could see them saying that, yes.
So now Ohio State was Big Ten. They won last year. They beat Notre Dame. And who won the year before that?
Michigan.
Oh, I guess I should have known that.
You remember that?
Yeah,
we watched it together.
Yeah, he's still not over that.
They beat Washington.
He wasn't even all that happy watching this game. I mean, he was happy watching it, but he wasn't that.
It was fun. No, it almost played out how I thought it would. Indiana won.
Well, I was definitely for Indiana. I was rooting for Indiana.
Right.
Just even though here I am in Florida, just a little ways away from Miami.
Right.
But I mean, Miami has had its share of glory. It's had some great teams.
They have, and you don't think, I guess Miami football, yeah, they had a period where they were really good, but we don't think of like South Florida, right, in football, even though it is one of the
you think of Florida.
hotbeds.
I mean, it
is a hotbed for college high school football.
If you live in Florida, the real rivalry is Florida and Florida State.
Right.
They're more in the north of the state, and politically they become a rival. Like a lot of the political people, a lot of the judges and a lot of the lawyers went to Florida or Florida State, and they don't like each other. It's like Arizona and Arizona State. Right. They don't like each other. How about Texas and then Texas A&M?
Right.
They really don't like each other. Really.
Or Texas, Oklahoma.
The governor and the lieutenant governor, and you tell me who they were. The governor and the lieutenant governor, one was not from Texas. He was from Texas A&M. The other one was from Yale. Bush was from Yale.
Oh, that's funny. He didn't go, yeah. Well, speaking of states, we're going to move north now. It's a Big Ten state.
Okay. This is a Big Ten. Well, I don't even know if it's a state anymore. I think certain parts of this state have actually seceded from the Union because they don't follow federal law. They put the lives of federal agents in grave jeopardy. They defend people who attempt to kill federal agents with 2-ton trucks, and they attack churches. And I always thought of Minnesota as such a nice place, butter and beautiful, beautiful lakes. And when I campaigned there,
the land of 10,000 lakes.
I always got unnerved by that Farmers Workers Party.
DFL.
Yeah. By the time the second guy ran, I was already a Republican, but Hubert Humphrey, even when I was a Democrat, Hubert Humphrey used to always make me nervous. I always had this little feeling he was too left, and he had a little communist streak. I don't know.
Well, we got the next governor.
All right.
Here on the show,
Governor. I mean,
we'll have to say that this time next year.
Amen.
Well, I got to ask you a question. When you become governor, you're going to still have your My Pillow things on?
Well, My Pillow will still be here. They're still standing.
Who the hell could sell My Pillows but you? I mean, You would be. I mean, they could sell other products. Maybe they could sell some of your other, but
Well,
nobody's going to get to sell your pillow. Jeez,
well, I'll
nobody
have
would
one.
buy it.
I keep trying to tell one of my sons to grow a mustache, and they can fill in. You know.
Yeah, but yeah, they have to have that infectious smile and that.
That's true.
So yeah, I don't even know where to start.
Yeah.
I don't even know what you should campaign on.
Yeah. Well, here's what I'm
trouble.
doing. Yeah. Here's what I'm doing with this fraud. There's one thing about, obviously, you arrest everyone, you go and arrest them, and then you deport the ones that are here illegally, and then you also you ban Sharia law. That's one thing we need to do in Minnesota, like these other states. You have to ban Sharia law. It's
Gee,
so
that's not a
bad here.
bad idea. Yeah,
Yeah,
since they allow
But-
killing women. Yeah.
Yeah, and what they've done to us here to try and put on our businesses and stuff, people don't even know. That's a whole nother problem. But it involves a lot of these Somalians. And but the biggest thing, now you have two things. I want to, first of all, to solve all these protests. Right now, what's going on in Minnesota that the public isn't, the media is not telling you. You've seen a little bit at the churches. The protesters are the problem. My friends downtown Minneapolis that live down there, as everyone knows, I was down there for a long time and lived when I was back with my drug days. And when I came out of that, I worked with all these welfare programs and coming up with a better way and stuff. But right now, Mayor, the people downtown, they've been calling me. They've had it with the protesters because they're blocking them and going down the sidewalks, from the streets. They can't get from point A to point B to pick up their daughter, maybe at school. And they've had to go through these lines and say, who are you? Prove it. Are you, do you like ICE and all these things that's going there? And they're going, I live in this neighborhood. Where are you from? I mean, it's like it's the protesters. And this goes back about 10 years ago. And if you lived in Minnesota, you would know this. The Black Lives Matter came to our town. It was a big deal. They tried to wreck our state fair. But one of the things they did, they blocked off Highway 35W in Minnesota. This goes right through the heart of the cities. There's no other way to go north-south except for residential areas. When they did that, this is an 8-lane highway, 4 lanes on both sides. When they blocked that off, we couldn't get people from Minneapolis. My workers could not come to work. We couldn't get supplies. And who let this happen? Our leaders in Minnesota. Our leaders let this happen. From the governors to the mayors, all these things they're letting happen with these illegal protests going on. You want to protest, fine. You go do it over here in this area here. If it's a big one, go get a permit. If not, don't commit crimes while you're protesting, like stopping people, like kidnapping, and they're in fear for their life, going, you stop right here. We're putting up a little protest on this sidewalk. This is horrific.
So when is the last, Mike? When's the last time? Now, a lot of people don't realize this, but in terms of politics, your state is a lot closer as a Republican Democratic state, right? Your legislature is pretty close, right?
Yeah, it's 50-50.
Yeah, no one. Yeah, they would think you're like California or New York.
No, we will be if this keeps going on. But right now, the president, and here it goes, everybody. Yes, he won Minnesota in 2016, and he also won it in 2024. I have the evidence. Yes, I do.
You don't have to convince me, my friend. You know that.
But
we're on the same page here.
But I will say this, when to tell people, for me running on, I've used you for an example, Mayor, the way you did in New York City to make the city safe again, to make it probably one of the most safest cities ever for that size, and putting the police precinct right downtown in Times Square. I remember, if you can correct me if I'm wrong or right, but taking away all the panhandling, even people that are warping, coming up to wipe your windows at the stoplights. You take them out of the picture, the traffic flows in New York. But one of the things you did, cleaning up the garbage, the physical garbage, if I remember right, and people didn't come up and beg, so you didn't have people selling drugs out in the open, and you just felt safe. My wife and I, all the time, it was like the safest city. We loved it. And now you got cities like Minneapolis. They just had Portland on the other day. This lady's in Portland going, "We are now the safest city in the world." Because why? Because nobody's going downtown. She goes, "Hello, hello." You know, there was a movie. It was a movie years ago. There was a movie years ago. I believe it was Kurt Russell. It was called Escape from New York. And it had gotten so bad that they made New York into just one big prison. Okay.
Right.
And that's where you're getting to your Portlands, pretty soon just seal it up, let them all fight in there, all these Antifa and all this. But one of the things that Minnesota has to be running on, these welfare programs that are in Minnesota, I mean, with all the fraud, they're also very bad programs, a lot of them. What I did for, you going back before I got involved in all the politics, I had started in 2014. It's a platform where you're using private sector money. People want to help that have money, but they also want to help the things they care about. And what we did, this big, imagine a big give, send, go platform kind of, and you put up the projects or the welfare areas, and we did it in Detroit. I experimented in Detroit with this platform. It saved, I was the government. I put all the money in here around it that wasn't covered by the private sector money. And you put some advertising out, say, hey, you guys can help out here. It saved about 40% of these programs. So here's my thing. If you took all these nonsensical programs, some of them are good. Remember the people they frauded out of this 18 billion. It might all the people that didn't get that money, some of them really, some of these programs might be good. We don't know, but I'm going to look into every one of them and plug in this other system using the private sector. I believe you'll save at least 40%. Just getting rid of the ones that are bad, and you put an end to it. What a concept. You don't get to stay on them for 20 years like some of these Somalians have done. This is crazy. You run it like a business, you run it like a CEO, and you look at every single one of them. And they, right now in our school system, here's another problem we have. And then with that money you saved, what do you do with it? Well, you lower taxes. Maybe we could be a Texas or a California, or a Florida where they don't have income tax, because the savings on these welfare programs are craziest thing. Right now, one of them that passed in Minnesota in 2023, the candidates I'm running in, some of them were from 2023. You're on that stage and you were part of the problem. You voted this in. Here's what it is. If you have an employee that has a kid, they can take off 20 weeks paid by the state, which everybody else is taxed on. And get this, if it's a key employee, I have it happening right now to me. If I have a key employee, I lose him, I have to replace him, but I'm required to hire the other guy back. And if I let this guy go, I'm required to keep him. It's bizarre. This is probably one of the most craziest programs I've ever seen. What it takes away is companies like My Pillow that were already doing great things for their employees. If someone dies close to them, we let you grieve and we pay you while you're out. If you have a life-threatening industry, you stay out as long as you want, we pay you. If you have a child, we pay you to stay out for the, having the baby. But now you go to companies, you're forcing this on companies. You're punishing the good companies, because before, hey, I'm going to go work for this one. They have a lot more benefits and internal benefits, right? We don't have that now, and everybody's taxed on it. But these, and then another thing that's happening, I'm finding all this as I go. And another thing is we have our schools have went from the top 3 to number 39 in this country after spending 29% more money, and they're financing.
Yeah, that's New York did the same thing.
Yeah, they're financing it, Mayor, by these bonds for these schools and stuff. And it's becoming a Ponzi scheme. They issue more bonds to cover the old bonds, and it's going to be the biggest collapse anyone's ever seen. And what they do then, when they're going, okay, let's raise property taxes. They keep raising it here in Minnesota to pay for these bonds, or giving more bonds. It's going to collapse. And they so all these things.
Let me give you a suggestion for when you become governor. Work fair.
Yeah.
When I became mayor of New York, I didn't realize, but New York state law allows you to require people getting welfare to work part-time if they can't get a job. So I utilized that law. They challenged it, but I made everyone getting welfare who couldn't find a job work. And I had them working for the city when they couldn't.
Wow.
So I had 4 or 5,000 cleaning up the parks,
Right. Wow.
4 or 5,000 cleaning up buildings. I had people filing in public libraries. But here was the point. The point was I had people that had never seen anybody work. The kid's father, if he had one, didn't work, or mother.
Right,
The grandfather
right.
didn't work, and the great grandfather didn't work.
Right.
He was in a neighborhood where nobody went to work.
Right.
How did we learn how to work? We saw it.
Yeah,
And
we saw it. That's
And I
right.
said, if I give you the work ethic, do you know we took 500,000 people off welfare in 8 years,
Wow.
and we moved 400,000 to jobs.
Wow.
And that had more to keeping crime down. The law enforcement stuff, the tough stuff, got it down.
Yeah. Right.
That kept it down.
Wow. That's, you know what? I'm going to use that. You know, I've been telling
I
people.
I borrowed it from the governor of Wisconsin. So
Oh, you
I'm
did?
not going to say Thompson, Tommy
Right
Thompson.
on. Well, I've been telling people I got a great mentor, the greatest mayor this country's ever seen. I've been saying that for the stage, you know.
Yeah, then don't
Because
worry. I mean, I'll get if Tommy's still up to it, I'll get Tommy to come in and help you too.
You know, here's what they've been saying negatively about me, and it's kind of been our own party, our own establishment. They go, well, Mike Lindell carries baggage like Donald Trump. Well, that's the first thing. So I'm going, okay, well, Donald Trump just won. And if the baggage is the election stuff, I call those receipts. I got all the receipts. We want to make not only the country, but Minnesota the most secure
How can you
election.
be carrying baggage when you were right?
Yeah, I know. That's exactly right. You know, 100%. It's all coming out now. And then the other thing they say, this is my favorite. They go, well, you know, Mike, you're so branded with Donald Trump that how are you going to get the moderate Democrats and the independents? And I'm going, hello. I said, I've worked, you know, and then I bring it back to me working with for 17 years. Since I got out of addiction, I have been working in Minneapolis, St. Paul, and Rochester, Minnesota with these welfare programs with private enterprises like Teen Challenge, Salvation Army, Union Gospel,
Yeah,
and all these people. I go, and I told them about going to Chicago with you, where we talked to all these Democrats that were flipping to Donald Trump. Even some of them didn't even like him. And why were they flipping everybody? Because they'd had it with the illegals taking their resources that they needed. All these programs that were for them, they're taking their resource, whether it was addiction. You remember that? Addiction.
Of course,
or
I remember.
healthcare,
Yeah, I mean, I thought
I said, and here's what I tell them on the stage. I said, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to go down, get my people that are down there right now in Minneapolis. All my friends live down there that are putting up with these protesters. What better people to do your commercials and to talk the other Democrats and independents into voting for you than them? They're the ones that need to say, hey, here's a better way. Here's a new input. We have Mike Lindell as governor. I've been there, and I've been to every single from downtown Minneapolis to farming in southern Minnesota. And then there's one more point too. I want to tell you about 250,000 people in Minnesota voted for Donald Trump in 2020 that didn't even bother to vote in 2022. There ain't a candidate on that stage against me that has the marketing power or the name to get those people out to vote. You know me, Mayor. I'll go door to door if I have to. I mean, they're going to be.
Well, you go right into their bathroom and open up the.
That's right. Hey, you're looking good. I knew you would. I know you're going to go vote today. Hello.
I don't think people realize the value of a candidate with enthusiasm, Mike.
No.
It's the most frightening thing to the opponent when you've got the enthusiasm, and you sure have it. And it's all of this is right in your wheelhouse. Even being able to reach out to the people who are lost, and you know it from your own life.
Right.
What to do. I mean,
well, that's what I said too. A gal said this last night when we were doing our debate. I've been to so many of these debates, and it got brought up about that. And I'm going, you know what? I can learn all this politics, but I can learn stuff very quick. If I don't know something, like they were talking about mining in northern Minnesota, I said, I don't know much about it, but I will learn fast.
Yes, of
But I'll tell
course.
you what they
Right.
can't learn. They can't learn character. I will never stop. I will never, and I'm going to go at this. I'm all in. It's 100%. I'm not going to stop till we win. We have to. This is it. We get one shot at this in Minnesota. Minnesota right now is in the whole country. This is the tip of the spear of some very, very bad stuff going on.
Right.
So now what? Just so people understand, first of all, how can they help you?
Yeah, it's MikeLindellGov.com. That's
MikeLindellGov.com.
And you guys, and why do we need it right now? Because we have to right now. Big straw poll coming out in February. And to get the GOP, I'll go through all these politics for the primary. But right now, I have a great marketing plan that I'm doing that I don't believe anyone's done. I was going to do it for the president. And this is to educate, when politicians let's raise money to do commercials. These 1-minute commercials usually is bashing your opponent. I think Minnesota knows how bad our governors and our leadership is here. I want to do,
Wow,
I want to
if they don't,
educate. Yeah, I want to educate them with half-hour infomercials and half-hour things where they educate them on what the plan is to solve all these problems. I believe I have it in every sector. I'm going to say, here's what I'm going to do. Not just saying, I'm going to lower your taxes and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do this. Well, how are you going to do it? I'm going to tell the people how I'm going to do it. That's how you turn people. You got to give them hope. You got to give them hope. And these guys can have all their big ideas over there. These ones that are on the stage, there's 2 of them that have been around 2 years. So, and what I've learned is you have just as much problem in our own party that aren't doing anything. You've sat here and in Minnesota for how many years now with this fraud? Some of these politicians, these Republicans, knew about it over a year ago. Well, why didn't they sound the alarm? Well, maybe they didn't have a big enough voice. That's one thing. I got a big voice. You know this, Mayor, I'll be the most transparent governor this planet ever seen. I told him last night, I said, you think the president tells on people that are blocking? I'll be the same way. Hey, we got Republicans over here that aren't getting behind us. And I will call them out because you have to in this day and age. You can't have these rhinos or even ones sitting on their hands going, this too shall pass. This too shall pass. No, you know what? You're gonna get with the program. We have to unite and win this.
Well, that's the perfect attitude. Perfect attitude, Mike. When is the first test? The primary.
The primary is until August.
Oh,
but this right now it leads up to the GOP endorsement. So this
they have like a convention. They have a convention.
Oh yeah, huge, and that's coming up, I believe, in May. But they have this big. We've been going nonstop. I've been doing debates every day. The biggest thing is, and they go, well, would you come if you don't get the endorsement? Are you going to keep going to the primary? I'm going, absolutely. I don't trust anyone else to do it, to win it. You can have all the knowledge if you don't have the wherewithal to win it. And so I really want to get their endorsement so they get behind. We're all united. And I have a very good idea of a very good lieutenant governor, which I'm not going to announce yet. But right now this is so big. And one of the things too is I can, by raising money and get the education out there in Minnesota, Republicans are a big disadvantage. There's other states like that too, but we are the worst because the primary being in August. In Minnesota, we were voting 45 days early before they made it crooked for the rest of the country.
Wow.
So think of this. You win your primary, and now the money pours in. Well, you're already voting. You think of that disadvantage. The parties.
You're going to go right. You're going to go right to a primary, basically in a couple of weeks. Right.
And they're already voting. So you got to get your word out. The only way to do that now. That's why I'm getting the word out now. And I'm doing that. You have to, or you're. And I'm the only one that can raise the money. People are pouring in the money. I need to start now. If we have a chance to win, which we do. And I have to assume, that, hey, I'm going to win this. I'm going to win this and win this. But you got to start now. I can't wait till August and then everybody, you don't have a chance. And that's what's been going on in Minnesota. If the Republicans were smart, they would have moved that primary back to May or at least May. This is bizarre. I mean, I couldn't even believe it. I go, what do you mean it's in August? I mean, and
Yeah,
the
they do
same way
that in
Arizona-
Democrat states. The
Yeah.
primary in New York, when I ran for mayor, was in September.
Oh, wow. Isn't
So,
that something?
so that's why we have like 5 Republican mayors in 250 years.
Right. Well, I'll tell you, anyone that thinks there's not hope in Minnesota, you see on the news, it's completely what you're seeing is a big lie.
There's
And
hope. There's a lot of hope.
One of the biggest advantages, everybody, is like Minnesota has the worst media cover up in the history. They should all be charged with crimes, every one of them, including the Minneapolis Star and Tribune. They knew about this fraud. They covered it up. They cover up our crooked politicians like Waltz and Mayor Fry of Minneapolis. Elon Omar, she went from 65,000 net worth in 4 years to $36 million.
Yeah, and it's a lot of it was racial extortion, wasn't it? It was the Al Sharpton, Jesse Jackson. If you do anything, we're going to accuse you of being a racist.
100%. And then Islamophobia and raceophobia and all this phobias. You know what?
Most people don't even know what Islamophobia is. I mean,
right? Yeah, no, they don't. But they'll tell you. With all the stuff going on, when I say ban, I think it's 14 states have banned Sharia law. You guys, this is a big problem. Look at Texas, all the mosques that got brought up. They're buying our churches, turning them into mosques, and this is and they want Sharia law here in Minnesota. This happened. You're spot on, Mayor. In 2016, it was January 3rd. You can look it up, anybody. January 3rd of 2016. A very big company called Cargill had these Muslims, these Somalians working for them, and they wanted to shut down their lines because they want their 5 little breaks a day to call or whatever they do. And they went and they picketed Cargill. After 3 days, they fired them all. But you know what happened? Boy, they got attacked for being just what you say. Well, you're racist, you're doing this. So they settled with them, had to probably pay a couple million, but it was worth it to Cargill to get rid of them because they couldn't run their businesses like that. Same way with Amazon right next to mine and Shakopee. Same thing there. And I've said it before that Minnesota was the Trojan horse for this happening. I said it 4 years ago. I am so happy about this fraud. I can't tell you. It reminds me of the 2020 election. The most important election in history was 2020, because if we didn't have that, where all this got exposed the last 4 years, all the corruption, we would have lost our country forever. Even the president agrees with me on that now. The president agrees with me. He said it the other day. If I'd have been put back in there, we might have lost our country because think of what he learned over 4.5 years. He was ready, and we've learned so much of this. And now with this fraud, I don't care how much they sit here and try and cover it up with all the protests and that. It's still there, and it's not going away. The biggest fraud in the history of the United States, and it doesn't end in Minnesota. Like the president said the other day, this could be the most massive. Every state, not just blue states, red states, and they're all doing it on what? They're doing it on just what you said. Oh, you don't want to, they're Somalia, or they're you're going to be racist if you even question them.
Yep. Well, Mike,
that ship sailed.
Save a little energy for tomorrow, huh?
Yeah,
God bless you, my friend.
Hey, MikeLindellGov.com, everybody. We're going to win this
sure.
together. Yeah,
all right.
MikeLindellGov.com.
We're there for you 100%.
God bless you.
This would be so good for Minnesota and the country, Ted, right?
Right. Oh, yeah. We're with Mike.
All right, Mike. God bless you.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Wow, he's great.
Do we need a break?
Let's take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Good. U.S. Army Major Scott Smiley paid a high price serving our nation. Scott was leading his platoon in Iraq when a blast sent shrapnel through his eyes, leaving him blind and temporarily paralyzed. Scott would become the first blind active duty military officer before medically retiring years later. Thanks to friends like you, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation gave Scott and his family a mortgage-free, specially adapted smart home. Show your support for America's heroes now. Donate $11 a month to Tunnels to Towers at T2T.org.
Are you ready for some action?
I'm ready for action.
Get the Elite TV plan only through the portal, 218 channels, and it's only $69.95 a month,
Wow.
including your free portal.
That's cheaper than everyone else.
Your favorite sports, movies, news,
Wow.
even daytime dramas. We're talking about ESPN, OAN, Newsmax,
Wow.
channels you can't get anymore in certain areas.
Compared to the competition, this is a way better deal.
Endless selection. Not to mention all the free music channels. There's over 700 premium and classic movies all ready to go.
Wow.
Plus, they got catch-up TV that allows you to go back and watch what you've missed or want to watch again. Cut your cable in half and get twice as much for free.
Way more channels for half the cost.
After the first year, the subscription then drops to $57.95 monthly,
Wow.
where you change or upgrade anytime. Go to QUXNow.com and get yours today. Use promo code RUDY. Act fast. These deals are selling out.
Here we are, pretty much at the beginning of the process here at this pristine, I call it a laboratory. It's not like a factory, it's like a hospital. This is the beginning of the process for roasting. Deep grain, very good quality. Most people don't use this quality. We deal with small farmers because they like to know who we're dealing with. They give us the highest quality, all organic, non-GMO. You should know all Arabica beans, no Robusto, all Arabica. They're gonna go into the roaster and it'll get roasted for about 20 minutes or so. Oh my goodness, look at these. My goodness. You're going to want to specially order these. This is what goes into Rudy's coffee. It's our purpose to bring to bear the principle of common sense and rational discussion to the issues of our day. America was created at a time of great... Here we are, pretty much at the beginning of the process here at this pristine, I call it a laboratory. It's not like a factory, it's like a hospital. This is the beginning of the process for roasting. Deep grain, very good quality. Most people don't use this quality. We deal with small farmers because they like to know who we're dealing with. They give us the highest quality, all organic, non-GMO. You should know all Arabica beans, no Robusto, all Arabica. They're gonna go into the roaster and it'll get roasted for about 20 minutes or so. Oh my goodness, look at these. My goodness. You're going to want to specially order these. This is what goes into Rudy's coffee.
don't have voice.
Can you hear us?
Oh, yes, now I can.
Now you can hear me. I just introduced you, Homera,
Oh.
and I said that you're the chair of the Iranian American community of North Texas. And
Thank you.
and of course, I should point out that I assume as a youngster, you were a political prisoner of the Ayatollah. Is that correct?
That's right. That's right. Good evening, Mayor. Thanks for having me.
Well, we're very, very honored to have you. When was that you were a political prisoner? How long ago was that?
Oh, that was right after I graduated from high school. I graduated, at 16, and I wanted to go study and just become a doctor or somebody. But the regime didn't tolerate that one. So they put me in prison because they assumed I'm a part of the MEK. Some of my friends were involved with it, but I wasn't too much involved. So they arrested me, and I tell you, Mayor, that I went to prison as a naive girl who didn't want to be involved in much into politics, just wanted to study and research. But I came out of prison as a grown woman with determination and belief that if I want to do something, I have to help and support the main Iranian opposition group, the MEK. So that was my summing up my prison time.
How long were you in prison, and what prison was it?
It was in Qom. I don't know if you know. It's like a couple of hours from Tehran.
Qom, is that the religious city?
That's the religious city,
That's the
yes.
city where where they have all of the ayatollahs and research and right?
Yes, but believe it or not, there were a lot of resistance people in that city too.
Yes.
There was a lot of MEK because, as if anytime there is like Ayatollah, there is a resistance against it. So yeah.
And so you were in prison for how long?
See, because they really couldn't prove I'm a part of the MEK, so I was only for a few months. So they released me. But the fact that you don't know at the time that they arrest you that you're going to be released, after a few months, because
No, so while you're there, it could be forever.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, I was in solitary confinement for a month or so, and as I said, I was a naive girl. I wasn't too much into politics, but and then there were some people that have been arrested and they were executed by mistake. The regime has admitted this. So there are a lot of unknowns. As I said, if you knew at the beginning this is going to be 4 months or 5 months, so you would say, okay, I tough it up. But that wasn't the case. You just don't know. The unknown is like, what's going to happen? Do I see my parents again? Do I see my siblings, my cousins, my friends? All those comes to your mind, and it's terrible, and I can imagine all these people who have been arrested right now in these uprisings, what goes into their mind, what goes into their parents, on top of all the mass killings that has happened. There are reports of that 50,000 people have been arrested all over the country. The number might be higher, but so 50,000 souls, in an overcrowded prisons that were already overcrowded because of the previous uprisings. So one thing that I think I can tell you, Mayor, is that when you go in prison, at the moment you feel like, this is it. So I'm confined. I can't do much. But that's not the case. You quickly realize that the resistance it has different forms. It doesn't matter where you are, at what location, you still resist. So even in prisons, you can resist.
So it sounds to me like you became much more serious about this as a result of going to prison, that you became committed to fighting the regime because they put you. When you went into prison, you were pretty neutral about it all, and when you came out, you were determined to fight for freedom.
Yes,
Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. We wanted to do something because the revolution just took place like a few years earlier. and people wanted to have freedom. So we all could see that there is the freedom that was promised is gone. There is no freedom. The people overthrew the Shah's system because there was a lack of freedom. It was like all the reasons that it was a popular uprising, but we didn't get to what we started or the people started. So when I went to prison, we taught that, if I do research and I educate myself, I know what's going on, what was the history of Iran, eventually we're going to be able to educate all the public and change the regime. But then in prison, I realized, oh, that's not the correct notion. That doesn't work. So I realized that the regime is not afraid of, like me reading the book. If they knew that I'm just researching some books, they probably wouldn't pick me up. But they picked me up because they thought I'm a part of the MEK. So, and that's how I realized that, oops, that's where the MEK is doing the right thing. If I had any doubt or questions that, maybe that's not the correct path, I realized that by reaction of the regime that yes, the MEK is the right person, is the right entity, is the right group to support.
And are they now the right organization? If in fact we are fortunate enough to overthrow the Ayatollah and we get a chance to make a transition, are you confident that the MEK is the right organization to guide that transition?
I truly believe so, Mayor, because their strategies from the decades ago, it's been very solid, stationary. They've asked for the overthrow of the regime in its entirety, no reform. So they weren't when Khatami came, the big reformists, a lot of supposedly opposition, they fell for him, but not the MEK. From the beginning, they said that the whole regime must go. And when they formed the coalition of NCRI, National Council of Resistance of Iran, in 1981, that was their base, that they want the overthrow of the regime, and they believe that this regime is not going to go with external pressure. There has to be a genuine revolution inside Iran, and their strategy, we see, in this latest uprisings that we are currently experiencing, the people are just confronting the IRGC. So they're not trying to say, okay, let's go have peaceful protests. They go with peaceful protests, but the regime confronts them with the bullets. So what they realize, the same thing that I experienced in prison, these people are on the streets are experiencing right now, that the only way to deal with this regime is to confront it, to confront the IRGC, to confront all the suppressive forces. So there is no way out. You cannot compromise with a part of IRGC, a part of Basij. That strategy does not work, because if you don't overthrow the whole regime in its entirety, you're not doing a good job. You're not doing the mission that you've started.
Well, I haven't been, Homer, involved in it as long as you have. I've been involved about 15 years.
You've been involved a long time, Mayor.
But I mean, I do feel I know a lot about it. And but I want to ask you this, because look, it's you put a lot on the line for this. Does the MEK and we should explain, the MEK is the biggest organization, but the NCRI is a large number of other organizations, including some of the ethnic minority groups who I've interviewed, the Azeris and the Kurds, and what they've been planning is to guide a transition. So they have a shadow government of people who would come in and make sure that the country can run while the country develops a constitution and then has an election as soon as you can. And that's such a good plan. And the problem is, how do you I can see getting the Ayatollah out, but how do you get the IRGC out? How do you move them out without some form of warfare.
I think you said it. They're not going to go out with like just no resistance. They have to be confronted. When the regime collapses, the IRGC must be, collapse too. So if the IRGC stays in place, the regime is not collapsing. So they go together.
And
It's
are there sufficient resources, not just with the MEK, but with their allies, to push them out?
I think what the Iranian people have started decades ago, it's a process that it's getting more progressed, bigger and larger and stronger and deeper, and it will eventually confront the IRGC and the regime would fall. So that's just inevitable. All the dictators will fall. Look at the massacre that they've done. If they wouldn't feel like they're on the verge of collapse, they wouldn't do such a thing, because the internet is still down. It's just like we still don't know what's going on. We don't know the scope of like.
I know. Do you have family still inside the country?
Yeah, we have. I have family, and it's hard to get in touch with them. But one thing is determined, that it's definite that the Iranian people want the regime out, and they want end of dictatorship. They've started this fight, I would say, over 100 years ago.
And the other, I have to ask you about, because it really annoys the heck out of me. It's more than annoys when I see the son of the Shah. All of a sudden now, as you said, I've been involved in this for some time. You've been involved in it longer. I never saw him before. I never saw him when things were really, really tough and we were negotiating to get the people out of Ashraf in Iraq, and they were killing people and they were threatening us. He wasn't with us. He didn't help us. He's never lifted a finger except to take the money that his father stole. And now all of a sudden he's coming along like he's directing this. He's not directing anything inside Iran. The people in Iran hate him. First of all, the 45% that are minorities really hate him because he persecuted them directly. And then he persecuted enough of the Persian part that they hate him too. And after you've overthrown this dictator, who in their right mind would go back to another dictator?
I totally agree with you, Mayor.
But I think he's creating a problem. And I wonder if the regime isn't helping him. Because the thing you can't ever underestimate is they're very, very crafty. They've infiltrated a lot of America. They've infiltrated our State Department to some extent. They've infiltrated our media. I'm talking about the regime now.
Yes.
And so we can't underestimate them. I can see them using him as a distraction, so you divide and conquer.
Yes, he is actually a divider. Every time that there is a popular uprising in Iran, he jumps in and he claims that he's the leader. He did that in 2022 with the Masa Amini's movement.
Yeah, and then he had no contact. That one I really followed very closely, and he had no contact with that at all. That was all show. It was all Hollywood show.
Yeah.
Well, let's hope that I was very encouraged by the president's reaction and lack of enthusiasm for him. President
he doesn't have any organization. He cannot keep a coalition like more than a few weeks. You mentioned NCRI. NCRI was formed in 1981, and it's like over 40 years or now. They're funding it. So that shows that. And, a woman is in charge of NCRI, Mariam Rajavi, which is inspiring, women all over Iran and all over the world. She's a role model for me.
I just wish everybody could get to know her. She is an exceptional woman and human being. And I've been through life and death with her. you know, when her people were in threat and we were up all night waiting to get them rescued. And I mean, this woman bleeds for them. And she is an enormously impressive spokesperson. I mean, she can go into a group of 1,000 parliamentarians and she'll walk away with the vast majority of them because they realize that she's sincere and smart as hell.
And the people of Iran and women especially see that too, Mayor. So it's not the parliamentarian only. Like we, as women inside Iran and outside Iran, we see exactly, you know, her potential and her encouragement and her belief in women. You know, I feel like, you know, women are like, because been oppressed and suppressed for decades by the dictatorship and by mullahs even more because of all the misogynies that the regime, you know, conducting. But this pressure, it's gonna explode one day. And Maryam Rajavian is believing in women. So it's really, you know, I believe the future will be bright because the women are finding their own potential and they believe in it.
Well, may I ask you what you do? What do you do now? You know, for a living and your family, and how are you? Are you ensconced in America now?
I'm a U.S. citizen. What that was your question?
Yeah. Are you a citizen?
Yeah, I'm a U.S. citizen. I work as my profession is I'm a medical physicist.
You're American. You're a medical
physicist.
Oh, yeah. Why are you all so smart and well educated?
But my passion is like, you know, all these volunteer things that I do on the side. You know, as I said, the Iranian American community of North Texas, you know, we have gatherings in.
Oh my God, I've never met more well-educated, brilliant people.
Oh.
You know, I spent twice. I spent time at the new Ashraf in Albania. So then I got really a good chance to meet everybody there. And I was so impressed. And my partner, Dr. Maria Ryan, I mean, that's all she talks about is what those women are like.
Our passion is like, you know, for freedom. And I think when you believe in something you know, bigger than yourself, bigger than your own, you know, individual life, that really gives you motivation and passion. And I think that's what
You're right.
inspired, you know, people because she's the role model for that. You know, she's, as you mentioned, you know, she is very energetic. She's very passionate. She's determined. And she's lost a lot. You know, she's lost her sister. She's under attack by the regime. There's so much misinformation about her. But she's standing, she's standing very strong, and she's inspiring more and more people.
Well, if it happens, and there is a period of time when the Ayatollah is out and there's a transition going on, would you go back and help?
I will decide at the time, but I've been helping.
I know you have.
And, you know, I'm sure if it's needed, you know, it's just, you know, what you're called, you know, for.
I can't wait to get to Tehran. I want to, every time I've spoken now for 15 years at the rally, I always end by saying next year, I want to meet you all in Tehran. And I do. And, sometimes I do my show with a picture of Tehran in the back, so people can see what it looks like. It's a great civilization that you have.
Yes,
you have a remarkably talented people.
Oh.
I mean, they're beyond average. They're remarkably talented people. Good, really good people.
Yeah, I think that's.
And I have to mention my friend Farzin and Ali Reza too. I love the two of them. Farzin can do everything. I mean, he's really unbelievable. And Ali Reza, who represents you here in the Congress, He's one of the most popular people in Congress. He's about the only person who can talk to Republicans and Democrats.
Yeah,
I mean, the only time I get to talk to Democrats anymore is at one of your meetings. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, because there are still a lot of Democrats who believe in freedom, thank God. And that's why I'm involved in it. Madam Rajavi always thanks me, of course. She thanks me and she tells me wonderful things. And I say to her, I can't thank you enough for involving. This is one of the most important things I've ever done.
No, I thank you personally, Mayor, for all the services you've done.
It gives my life a great deal of meaning. Nothing, and you hit it right on the head. There's nothing like fighting for freedom. Nothing, whether it's your own or somebody else's. We're all children of the same God. So
yeah, and we're all hopeful because the one thing that the regime wants to take away from us, from the people of Iran, to make him like not hopeful. They want him to be despair, but the hope is what motivates people. And that's when you have an organized resistance, when you have MEK affiliated networks inside Iran, that gives hope to people. And that's we are hoping, as you said, next year in Iran. We're going to say this year in Iran.
We're gonna see you in Iran.
We're going to see in 2026. We'll make it the year.
Real quick, and you're gonna show me Quam.
Yes, I will take you to
Thank you.
City, and I'll show you the present that I was there.
Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me, Mayor.
Yeah, this is a remarkable woman. A remarkable woman. They all are remarkable. That is typical. That is typical of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. I guess thousands of women and men. When we say women, the reason we say women is because it's so unusual. But this group is pretty close to an equal number. I don't know which is more, men or women. Probably there's still more men, but the women are in equally prestigious positions, and not in the slightest bit based on DEI or boopity doopity. It's based on the fact that they are damn good, even as fighters. You think with their lives on the line, they're going to take a chance with a woman who can't shoot real well? No way. Right. Or that can't kill you in 2 seconds? No way.
Right.
You will be shocked. Maybe in the next week or two, we'll have Dr. Maria on, who did a lot of interviews with them and walked away enormously impressed. Enormously impressed. I mean, she went there to really advise them on putting together their medical facility in the new place in Albania, and there wasn't much to advise. They've got great doctors. They've got great dentists. You want to get a tooth filled? One? There you can. They have a studio that is as good as Fox or NBC. You can broadcast right into Iran. Well, not now, but maybe, I don't know right now. But certainly during most of the period of time, even during the 22 riots and the 18 riots, we were able to broadcast right into Iran and give them hope and get pictures of what was going on. They've done a more complete internet blockout this time. It's much more difficult. They get in, but it's much more difficult now. And it's you can get in. It's hard to get images out. They learned that from the last time, because in 22, a lot of images got out, and it really fueled a kind of international feeling against them, which they have worked very, very hard to censor. So this is the great revolution for freedom of our time. And I cannot, and I think the president has made this point now numerous times, but it's said so often, people don't realize how important. freedom in Iran, the end of the theocracy, will make peace in the Middle East just happen. The biggest single obstacle. I don't care what people say publicly. I'm talking about behind the scenes. The single biggest obstacle to peace in the Middle East is the massive contributions that the regime of terror run by the Ayatollah makes to the terrorist groups. If they're ripped out with the damage that Israel and the United States have done to the proxy groups, it's over. And the people of the Middle East, who are made up of, as you would imagine, mostly regular people with common sense, will make peace with the United States, with Israel. They will figure out we have a lot more in common than they have with the atheistic, sadistic, homicidal communists. And that our way of life is so much better than theirs. That's the way of life they want. And they know it. The educated ones know it. The ones who've been educated here know it. And you can't imagine over the last 20 years in particular, maybe 25, how the theocracy of Iran using the Quran has been able to block that. And that's a real problem, because you can use the Quran to do that. Nobody is making up what's in the Quran. And one of the things that has to happen with the good-hearted, decent Muslims is they have got to stop being defensive about, in part, this can be hard, right? What a horrible religion it is. There's a whole portion of that religion that it just should be burned. It's basically what they call the Mecca Muhammad, gone. Basically, because when, like, Mondami, that traitor jackass, put his hand on that book tells him to kill Jews. It tells him to do it. Pretty much commands him to do it. Oh, by the way, don't get too comfortable if you're not Jewish. Christians do. Yeah. And infidels. Like you don't believe in Muhammad and Yahweh, and not Yahweh. Yahweh's a Jewish name for, substitute name for God. Allah. You know where Allah comes from? Allah was one of 4 pagan gods that Muhammad stole from the Zoroastrians so he could have a God too. And if you read the Bible carefully, and we're rereading it right now and comparing it to you can't imagine how that stupid little imbecile screws up the Bible and gets it wrong. Largely because they say Muhammad couldn't read. Hard to understand how he wrote the Quran if he couldn't read. A lot of things about him don't work. There's even a book now doing fairly well, although, boy, I'm surprised they haven't killed the author, that questions whether Muhammad ever existed and whether he was created for the purpose of inspiring an army. Because the second half, the Medina Muhammad, is a pure general. Well, not just a general, he's a psychopathic general. He's a general that engages in mass murder. He's a general that rapes children. He's a general that kills for effect. He's a general that invented the mass grave for Jews. He's a general that basically tells his people, the most important thing is to remove them and murder them. If you want to make a few exceptions and take some money from them, we'll do that too, because we're also organized criminal crooks. And we like having a lot of money because we can use it But by and large, if they don't want to submit and they don't want to become Muslim, and they don't have a lot of money, wipe them out. If they have a lot of money, see if you can squeeze it out of them. And then after a while, you can kill them. What I am telling you is what is in the Quran, in the Hadith, and in the Surah. What are those three things? The Quran is the book. The book that was dictated to an illiterate, somehow through some magical process put down on paper from the angel Gabriel to this illiterate whatever he was. There was something wrong with him. He used to have what they now think were epileptic fits, which is part of why they rejected him, part of why the Arabs rejected him. He would come and he would tell them these stories about how Gabriel took him to heaven and he met Abraham and he met Jesus and he met Jacob and he met he met everybody, but he's more important than all of them. And he's the final prophet. There'll be no more prophets after me. I'm the final prophet, and let me straighten the whole thing out for you. The Jews are okay. They're people of the book, but they're all screwed up on Abraham and Isaac's story is really wrong. It was Abraham and Ishmael, who was his illegitimate son. And we all come from Ishmael. Now, so he begins the whole thing by being the issue of the illegitimate son. I have no idea why, but I think probably because he really didn't know the Bible. He had some renegade Jewish people explain it to him, because he gets the Bible stories wrong. He gets facts wrong. He knows them in sort of a very general, childish way. If you were to sit and read the Quran next to any decent interpretation or translation of the Quran and a decent similar translation, maybe by the same person, of the Bible, you would realize that one is a beautiful book of poetry and of history and of prose, and the other is infantile and demonic toward the end, satanic and demonic at the end. And that's what creates so much problem when people say, you shouldn't have the Quran around. When you get to what effectively is the second half of the Quran, it's a handbook on murder. Except you don't get to the second half because it's all intermixed. They don't put it in chronological order. They put it in the order of the longest chapter first, except for the first chapter, which is the universal prayer of Muslims that they repeat over and over and over again, which also contains a very hidden message about killing Christians and Jews. So this is what we're facing. I'm going to tell you, if we face it, we're going to have a beautiful world. We'll have a beautiful world if we face it. If we don't, it'll be tough. So, what else do we have before we sign off? We talked about Indiana, and they did really, really well. But I want you to tell me why it was so important for Indiana to win, not just for the young man who obviously is going to be, I think, the number one draft choice in the NFL, and the coach who all of a sudden, after just 2 years, I mean, this is like Lombardi.
Really,
it's like Lombardi. It's like Landry. It's like this is turnaround city. Boom, 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 bam. Parcells. Boom, boom.
Right.
I mean, he took the worst program in football, and in 2 years, he made him national champion. Being a national champion, I think, is harder than being the NFL champion. I don't mean that the level of competition is the same, but I mean the number of competitors is so great.
Yeah.
And I mean, there are only a certain number of teams you have to get through to be the head. There, you got to get through all these colleges and the. Well, I don't know. Do you think it's harder? I don't mean harder physically or harder. I mean harder just in terms of the mechanics of it.
Yeah, I would agree with. I mean, what a good question. Yes, I think there's more teams.
Yeah, and the draft in the NFL is beautiful.
Yeah,
If you can get either lucky or you can get a genius doing a draft for you, right?
right.
One or the other. If you can get one of these real geniuses who can figure out what other people can't figure out, and you can do, I'm not going to say one, you can do 2 good drafts.
Yep.
Within 2 or 3 years, you could go right to the Super Bowl.
I agree with that. But
Now, recruiting in football is so much harder because you're recruiting. And my son was a high school football player, and he played with some very good ones who played eventually.
the McCourty brothers.
Yeah, they played, and a whole bunch of other ones. Another one played for Houston, and but it's hard to tell.
Right.
You make a lot of mistakes. The younger they are, no matter how impressive they are,
Right.
the more difficult it is.
Right.
It makes sense, right? The more experience they have, and the more things that they've shown they can do,
Yep.
the more solid your decision is going to be.
That's right, Mayor. And
then the injuries. What about the injuries? These are young kids who can get injured more easily than the 30-year-old who is, who's already withstood a number of injuries.
That's a good point too. And you pointed out it's a different game. Obviously, college and the NFL. NFL, these coaches are basically focused on the X's and O's, right? I mean, you've got the best athletes at that point. You're in the pros. The difference between teams, right? You're talking about the best of the best in all of college now in the pros. So the difference between teams a lot less. Where in college, if you're the head coach of a major college football program, like you said, you're focused on recruiting 24/7 nowadays. Players can leave anytime they want now.
And
in the middle of the season.
You're recruiting from
The whole nation.
from like it's
Coast
almost like a
nowadays.
whole sea of. Whereas
Yeah.
in pro football, it gets narrowed down.
It gets narrowed down,
It
and
gets
there's a
narrowed
draft.
down to the draft. There's only a certain number of choices
Right.
you have. When the number comes up, there's only a certain number of choices you have.
Right.
It doesn't get your work done for you, but it narrows it.
That's right.
And if you can get a guy that really is good, because some are better than others at seeing things,
yes.
you can go right to the top like that.
But it is harder.
Some guy can see a number 6 choice.
Right. You're the head coach in college. You've got to deal with the entire roster. You're constantly recruiting, talking to high school players, now transfer players. You've got to deal with the school administration, right, which is a whole beast of its own between the president,
How about the alumni?
the board of regents, the alumni,
you
the boosters.
you lose the first game and once you're fired, right?
Right. So your parents, right? You're dealing with the parents of all these kids. And then, of course, the media.
The kids themselves,
Yeah.
who are babies
Yeah.
and spoiled in many cases.
And their parents. We're in the pros.
And the parents are spoiled.
Pro football
Parents
coach.
are seeing billions, you
Yeah.
know. Ooh,
Yeah.
ooh.
And we're in the pros. You're the head coach. You're focused on the X's and O's each week, right?
Yeah, you can throw the parents out.
Yeah, you don't deal with the parents. These are adults. So I agree with you, Mayor. I think college football is much more, and that's why you see so many college coaches that don't perform well in the pros, or pro coaches that don't do well in college. They're just,
Or every once in a while, you get one that does both.
or you can get one that can do both. Jimmy Johnson, I
Wow.
guess, that's back in the day. But more recently, there's
Harbaugh.
not Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah, I mean, not that I have certain reservations about
Right.
Jim Harbaugh, not about my new coach.
John Harbaugh.
I
Did you
don't
watch that
know
for-
him.
I watched
I
it
don't
for-
know him, but I love how can I love somebody I don't know? I loved him when he was in the Super Bowl with his brother. I read about the two of them. I didn't know who I was going to root for. I might have rooted for San Francisco because they're in the NFC, number one. And I always kind of had a liking for San Francisco because of Joe Montana, who I thought until recently was the greatest professional quarterback, who also was pretty close to one of the best college quarterbacks. He had the same ability for Notre Dame that he had for San Francisco. You were never out of a game.
Right.
Montana could bring it back from 4 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. I mean, it was like ridiculous.
And when Harbaugh was coaching the 49ers and they were winning with Kaepernick, this was before Kaepernick had
Kaepernick
went south on us.
He replaced a guy that either had
Alex Smith.
Yeah, he replaced a guy that either had a perfect record or an 8-1 record.
Yep, got hurt.
And he brought in the flashy black kid.
Yep.
And then
he played well that first year. He did.
Played well, but I could see from I wish I could get Mukasey here. We used to fight. He was my law partner.
Right.
Fight about this. I said that guy's gonna not make it. He's gonna fall apart. He's a dumb version of Tarkenton. And I knew Fran Tarkenton really well. Fran Tarkenton knew how to keep changing his game. When he first came into the NFL, Fran Tarkenton was the first real scrambler.
Okay. Yep.
Fran Tarkenton could run around for 5 minutes. It was ridiculous.
Right.
Then he'd throw a touchdown pass. Next year, again, they don't know what to do with him. Halfway through the year, he starts to. Next year, Tarkenton rolls out the first time, and there's a big linebacker ready and puts him on his ass.
Right.
They figured out how to defend him. They figured out how to put two goalposts, one here, one here. So they narrowed his area. They immediately narrowed his area of scrambling.
Right.
So instead of having that, he had this. And then if these guys were fast as well as big, right? Or maybe sometimes they wouldn't use a linebacker. They'd use a safety that was as fast or faster than him. They'd bring him in here. He narrowed it a little more.
Yep.
And then they narrowed it a little more. Now, Tarkenton ended up, at one point, Tarkenton had the most completed passes in the history of football. And so Tarkenton ended up as a great football player no matter what. But he wasn't, after 2 or 3 years, it was a fair contest. And he had to, but here's the smart thing about Tarkenton. Tarkenton was as good a pocket passer as he was a rollout passer. By the time he played for the Giants, he had been limited somewhat. They already had figured him out. He played 8 years for the Giants.
Yep.
And his touchdown passes to Homer Jones, when people said, oh, he didn't have a great arm, he threw the ball 80 yards, put it right in Homer's hands. I mean, Tarkenton was a truly great quarterback. Also, he had what a great quarterback like Brady and has to have.
Right.
Smart as hell. But
right, that's a good point. And defenses will figure you out. If you're not smart and you don't change your game up.
I watched this guy 3 times. This is before he did the knee stuff or had any reason to dislike him. And I said, Mark, he's got to go back to the other guy. First of all, this team was built for the other guy. They don't know an uncontrolled, undisciplined guy like this. They're going to screw up. And I got to tell you, he's not smart. I said, compare him to the other young guy with Seattle, Wilson. Now, they said, Wilson's a little shrimp. I said, I don't care if he's a little shrimp. You know what he's got that makes him 7 feet tall? He's got a brain. Right? This guy doesn't have a brain. And what happens? San Francisco goes to the Super Bowl. 2 Harbaughs. The good Harbaugh and the bad Harbaugh. He can bring Smith back for the playoffs, for the Super Bowl. He stays with the rookie. Rookie throws the interception that loses the Super Bowl to the big brother.
Yeah.
And from then on, what is his career?
Well, in the NFL, he did win. He won the college national championship at the University of Michigan. But yes. And now he's in San Diego or Los Angeles.
Yeah, now he plays piano or something.
But you got John Harbaugh, and you would have liked his intro.
I love John Harbaugh. I saw him interviewed then. I saw his mother interviewed, who basically said that John was always the nicer kid. And now he's with the team that's the nice team with the Maras and the Tishes.
And
These people are salt of the earth. They had John interview with him. John is dying of cancer. Really, I think to infect him with the Giant spirit. If you read today's papers or yesterday's, his wife is so excited that he's paying for a quality franchise. And she said the words for which I will love her forever. This is the highest quality franchise in football.
I'll put the Giants up there. I have a.
Oh, come on. I know you like the Packers, and I can
The
see
Giants
why.
are up there.
But John Mara was, and I think even your friend Lombardi would tell you this, because John Mara was his best friend.
Yeah, they were very close.
They both were Saints.
Right.
And do you know that their wives used to have dinner before every game, whether it was in New York or in Green Bay or in Milwaukee?
Yeah.
Their wives were best friends, remained best friends. And even when they thought it was inappropriate for them to join the dinner because people would think
Yeah.
something was wrong, they every Saturday night before a giant Packer game, the two families got together. Now, say how close they were. The Rooney family, who owned the Steelers, married into the Mara family.
Oh.
And produced two great actresses, Rooney Mara and the other one. I don't know who the other one is, another Mara.
I did not know that.
Both of them actresses.
Oh, that's right. Kate, there is a Mara
Yeah, there are
that's
two
a
of them.
well-known. Yeah. Yeah, well, by all accounts, the good ownership, good family.
But that's the Rooney and Mara family, and the Lombardi and the elder Mara. That's their father.
Yep.
Played football together at Fordham.
Yep.
They both
The
were
wall of
linemen.
granite. The wall
They
of
both
granite.
were linemen on the line of granite, which was, at the time, a very, very representative of football team that could play teams like Army and Notre Dame.
Those are the best teams in the country.
Competitively.
Yeah.
So football's gone a long way. Before I go off, I have to show you this here. You got to get the New York Post podcast. I don't advertise any podcast but mine usually, but I'm advertising this one from Miranda Devine because my good friend and great lawyer Bob Costello is being interviewed. He may even say bad things about me. I don't know. Probably not.
No.
But in any event, you got to listen to this. This guy has a lot to do, and she knows it. This guy has a lot to do with my getting the hard drive out. And she knows that her newspaper didn't want to print it. It's her and three other people on her newspaper, all of whom at some point should get I don't know what we would call it. Maybe Trump and I could come up with an award. We'll call it the Big Balls Award. Do you think that would be offensive if we called it the Big Balls Award? Bigger balls than most people have?
Yep.
Well, this guy gets a Super Big Balls Award. So does she, even though she's a woman. But she'd be okay with that because she's a really tough. This is one of the best reporters in modern America, right there. This one here, Miranda Devine, one of the best reporters in modern America. This is one of the greatest lawyers in modern America. He is now the CIO, the Chief Information Officer, at the Cyber Security and Infrastructure Security Agency. They couldn't do better. Mr. President, I don't know, ever make a change, not a bad AG. Bobby Costello, and we'll talk a lot about Bobby. I mean, I had a lot of friends walk out on me. I had a couple of friends walk in on me. Believes in Trump, believes in what we're doing. Most importantly, he believes in America. And I know she's from Australia, but she's a citizen. She believes in America. They got a couple at the Post that Goodwin. Okay. So I got to show you. We have a little extra time here. We like to get you off at 9. on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, so you can get to see Dr. Maria. Like last night, I thought
2 nights ago.
2 nights ago.
It is a Dr. Maria night, but she's not doing a live show.
Oh, tonight, yeah, tonight she wasn't feeling well. So actually, she's doing a repeat of the last one where I'm on. So last on Monday, I thought I even did a better interview on her show than I did on mine. So that's why I wanted you to go there. Let's see. Let's see if I can find this here. I wanted to show you my Babylon Bee. I happen to love the Babylon Bee. And I don't go through the whole thing because it's just too long to go. But I let the New York Post make the choices for me. Now, I don't let the New York Post make choices for me on certain things like tariffs. They're dead wrong on that. But I do let them make the choices for me. Have you seen these things? Why do they keep putting my friend Marco in these strange outfits? Why are they?
They're making a joke that he's doing everything.
But is this
It's meant to be a joke.
Is this something good for him? You think? Yeah.
It's meant to be like, look.
Like I'm looking at him here. They got him here with a cigar, and he looks like Castro. So that's like he's going to take over Cuba, right? Then they got him in a Canuck outfit, and I guess he's going to take over Greenland.
Right.
Now they got him looking like an Ayatollah, so he's going to take over Iran, and now they got him looking like a Latin American dictator. I mean, that's really hilarious. I don't know if you should do those things, though. I think they're inherently dishonest. Shouldn't you announce when you do those that they're dishonest? Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'm saying it right, but if I see some things, I just laugh my head off. Sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night, and I just to go to the bathroom. And so I pull something out and I look at it, and it's one of these things where they've put words in Trump's mouth or they put words in somebody else's mouth, and it's just hilarious. I mean, these people are really funny, but I don't know if that's right. I don't know if it's the right thing to do. So let me show you some of my pictures. I have pictures. I love pictures. This is Mendoza getting ready for the run. Now he's gonna make two. No. Counting that, 3 changes the direction in that run. So this isn't a quarterback. This is a fullback that can do that.
Right. Here
He's also going to knock off a guy that's probably about 20 pounds heavier than he is, which means he is one strong son of a bitch.
Right.
Yeah, well, you knew you got the right guy there, Coach. You got the right guy there. They turned him down at Miami. You think that had something to do with it?
It's quite the story.
You think the fact that Miami turned him down had something to do with it? There's the coach. Thank God for him. Just 2 years. Now, how about this one? This one, Trump did himself. Trump did this himself, or somebody did it for Trump. Planting the flag in Greenland with Marco and JD. But he sort of figured out a much more subtle way of getting around this, which is first of all, he made a very, very good case that we're entitled to it. We liberated it. The Danish wouldn't have been able to liberate it. Jesus.
Right.
They couldn't liberate their own country. How are they going to liberate Greenland? Suppose that happens again and they can't liberate it. And when they're in the middle of a war with China. We don't have those options. And, the president has to play it carefully and he's got to go around. I don't know. At times he must say to himself, I don't know if I have the time for this. There's so much I have to do to get us ready to protect ourselves against atheistic communism and the homicidal version of the Muslim religion, which is a big version of it. I mean, they want to take away, both of them want to take away our civilization, which includes the Danish civilization. You think they'd, pride, right?
Right.
You know, they don't make any money on I don't think they make any money on Greenland. I think this is all, I think if they weren't a monarchy, it would work. I think the king doesn't want to give it up.
Right.
Which is why monarchy should have gone at the beginning of, about 226 years ago,
Right.
century. It should, goodbye, no more monarchies, please.
Right.
What the hell do you need? It's just a waste of money. I don't mind paying a lot of money to the president if he's doing a good job. I mean, you got to pay him even if he's not doing a good job. You can't make that choice. You can't let a president die. But when he's doing a good job, you don't even have to worry about it. Because given the amount of money we pay people now, like a football coach, we're paying the president who got it's nothing, right? Right?
Right.
The guy coaching Army and Navy makes more than the president in the federal government. So we're hardly wasting money on the president. And when you got one like this, he's priceless, right?
Right.
I love that. I hope they're sucking it in because one of them is going to be president. I hope they're sucking it in. You got to be like him, boys. Not just watch him. You got to be like him. You don't have to be exactly like him. You can be, you can be your own type. So here's what I have for you. So let's start with this one. Number one, this is an ad that I would like. This is a new sponsor that we have, and it's the Greenland travel agency.
Okay.
Okay. So I was asked if I would read this, but you're going to have to do something with the signs because you got them all messed up with the whatchamacallits, with the the lights. It's the lights. It's those lights over there.
All right, I'll put it out. Just don't touch anything.
I won't touch anything. Ominous sign, new Army recruitment ad says, visit lovely Greenland.
Right.
I mean, this one here too, maybe.
Yeah, we might as well. I don't want to spend too much time.
Well, why this one? That one wouldn't do anything. Well, that was okay. I mean, it's still terrible, but look at the nice colors on it. You don't get the nice colors. Okay, but they can see it now. Ominous sign. New Army recruitment ads say, visit lovely Greenland. You can't read the bottom part, but I'll read it to you. It's nothing that serious, said marketing spokesman Major Arnold Rembrandt. We're just letting potential recruits know that as a member of the U.S. Army, they can visit a wide variety of exotic locations around the world, like Greenland sometime soon. Next one. I think you'll find this one even funnier. Minnesota changes official state bird to screaming lesbian. This is a quote from Governor Tampon Tim. It's much more of a natural fit, Governor Tampon Tim said in a statement to reporters. And while the case can be made that the loon very much still represents everything about Minnesota, we feel that the screaming lesbian is a fabulous step forward for both our state and for screaming lesbians.
That's great.
Next one. This is from Tucker Carlson. We got to go down. Tucker Carlson first. Tucker Carlson, amazed at how clean and well run the murdering of Iranian protesters is. You know, Ayatollah Khomeini gets a bad rap, but when you see what he's accomplished, the way he runs his country, I'm telling you, the mainstream media just isn't reporting what's really happening, Carlson said. Very, very clean killings. And the last one, to save time, journalists now only reporting on any free agents the Dodgers did not sign. We can't keep up with all the roster changes the Dodgers are making. They are signing and acquiring so many places. They've already spent more than the entire national debt.
Right.
So that's the Babylon beef for this week. Best one was Minnesota changes official state bird to screaming lesbian.
That was my favorite.
Okay. So we're going to keep up. We're going to keep up very, very carefully with what's going on in Iran. We'll be back tomorrow night.
Yep.
I'm still sticking with my kind of general prediction that when all the pieces are in place, which I think doesn't just include the aircraft carrier, there probably are pieces we don't know about. But when the president and Netanyahu are satisfied that all the pieces are in place, that they can do what they have to do with no loss of life to their forces or minimum loss of life to their forces, they will then act. Because when the president put it off a week ago, he had without doubt more than sufficient forces to destroy Iran. What he didn't have for sure were more than sufficient defense, Golden Dome, right, to protect our 14 or 15 bases that are within striking distance, or we have to assume striking distance of Iran. So because he had his aircraft carriers off of Venezuela, he's always has one near Taiwan. He had to get one in there. Now that aircraft carrier, I do not believe will be carrying any ordnance that's going to be used in Iran. I think that's all going to be done the way we did it before, from bases. But what it does carry are massive defensive missiles that can knock anything Iran ever dreamed of out of the sky. And that's what they're there for. And when that's there, the president, who's being very quiet, doesn't talk about Iran anymore. And they're attacking him quite a bit. There was an article today in the Wall Street Journal accusing him of being a coward and doing the same thing Obama did with the red line. There have been very provocative articles trying to get under his skin. But he knows when the right time is. And they're trying to claim that the Iranian people are losing faith in him. I happen to know that's not true. That's the pro-Iranian media, which is the majority in America. They've just like they bought off. I mean, how the hell did Biden and Obama support them? They've bought off a big portion of America. But don't be fooled. This is coming. It's done already. He doesn't even. But when he stops talking about these things, watch out. Watch out. While he's talking about it, he's still trying to move you. He's still talking about Greenland, and he's getting movement. I don't know how much he got behind him today, but I think he got a lot behind him today. But he hasn't mentioned the Ayatollah in quite some time, and we see the ship coming closer and closer and closer and closer and closer, and then the other ships coming closer and closer and closer and closer and closer. So the Ayatollah can get a big surprise. Get a big surprise. What happens, Ted, if all the Muslims find out that Muhammad was bullshitting.
And then, yeah, I guess.
That Gabriel actually never took him up to heaven. That he really was a pathetic epileptic who made the whole friggin' thing up with the help of somebody, probably Abu Bakr, who could write, because he couldn't write. And then it was Abu Bakr's little daughter that he raped, the 6-year-old. Misha, whatever her name was. But he was very considerate. He married her at 6, but he didn't screw her until she was 9.
Ugh.
Yeah. You want to name a religion after him?
Disgusting.
Sure, that's great. What do you think the religion is going to have? Did you ever notice? One last thing. I know I can't stop. I want you to go online, ladies and gentlemen. I want you to go to your browser. I have a Safari browser. Okay, here goes. Safari browser. Come on, Safari browser. Don't be an idiot. Worst of the put down worst of the worst. Then go worst of the. Wait, I did that wrong. Worst of the worst. Okay, now watch. Website. There it is. Homeland Security, worst of the worst. So you will see on there, you know how there was somebody I wanted to prove was a miserable liar who should be put in prison for the rest of his life for perjury, who said that they are arresting people without criminal records. Well, first of all, 7 to 8 out of 10 all over the country have criminal records. Because this group, which I've been telling you forever and ever and ever, and they tell you the opposite, they commit less crimes than Americans. It used to be true. It is no longer true. You're going to see why in a minute. But something between 7 and 8 out of 10 arrested in Minnesota not only had criminal records, meaning arrests. You know, a lot of criminals don't get arrested right away. Doesn't mean because they don't have a criminal record, they're not criminals.
Right.
I'm looking at this. It says convictions. So here's a list. First guy on the list here. This is called worst of the worst. I think these are arrests going back 1 year. This guy just picked out, was arrested, Minneapolis, Minnesota. His name is Salal Osman Shadani. He comes from Somalia. What were his convictions? Criminal sexual conduct, victim 13 to 15 years old. Arrested in Minneapolis, Minnesota. That's number one. Laos, from Laos. Convicted of, this guy's name is Meng Vang. He was arrested right next door in St. Paul, Minnesota. Nice place. Assault. This is convicted of assault, aggravated assault, non-family weapon, aggravated assault weapon, threat, terrorist state offenses, arrested St. Paul, Minnesota. Next, Rene Hernandez from El Salvador. He was convicted of sexual assault. He was arrested in Moose Lake, Minnesota. Then we have a guy from Mexico named Jaime Tirado Hernandez. He was arrested in Lino Lakes, Minnesota. He belongs to a gang in his case, and the gang he belongs to is the Serenos. He was arrested for assault. Oh, I'm sorry. He was convicted of assault and murder. Murder from outside the country. Biden let him in. Guy committed murder. Mexico. Now we have another guy from Laos. This guy was arrested in Minneapolis, Minnesota, run by Tampon Tim and the little baby mayor, who will not cooperate with ICE in catching these people. Do you understand this? Can you possibly understand this? Can you explain it to me? What's wrong with them? So this guy is Odone Lothirath. I thought we were an English country. Convicted of assault, aggravated assault, gun. They're like against guns, but they like to bring in these foreigners who like guns, who are illegal. He was arrested in Baby Mayor's town where they give up police precincts. Then we got a guy with a hell of a record here. This guy belongs to a gang. It's called the Oriental Boys. I never heard of them. His name is Mong Jang. He was arrested in Minneapolis also, which appears to me to be a pretty effing dangerous city under the communist governor and the half-wit, nitwit, childish, immature, silly, stupid mayor. His gang affiliation is Oriental Boys. Let's listen to his convictions. Let's start with murder. Stolen property, stolen vehicle, assault, homicide, willful killing, non-family weapon. I don't know exactly what that means. It means a weapon that didn't come out of a house or whatever. But he was guilty of murder. But now we have one from Vietnam. Arrested, Minneapolis, Minnesota. Yeah, they're arresting mostly people who are just nice people that run stores. Like hell. This guy's name is Phuc Trong. I swear to God, it's Phuc. Phuc. Phuc Trong Nguyen. He's arrested in Minneapolis, Minnesota. He's convicted of carrying a prohibited weapon, possession of a stolen car, sex assault, possession of weapon, and rape. Cuba, Francisco Jorge Salgado. He's convicted of amphetamine selling, domestic violence, which means beating up the girlfriend or the wife, dangerous drugs, cocaine possession, possession of a weapon, probation violation, and assault. I don't know if you could do much more than that. Minneapolis also, and these are the people that the group that are protesting are trying to prevent ICE from arresting. I assume so they are not interrupted in their continual murder, assault, theft, and rape of the citizens of Minneapolis, Minnesota. And the mayor seems to be happy with that. And the red Chinese trained governor is extraordinarily happy with that, with the stupid shitty grin on his face. Mexico, convicted of sex assault and rape. Notice how often perversion comes up with these people. In fact, when I give you these 10, I already counted 6 out of 10 were involved in sexual perversion. 5 out of 10 were involved in homicide. These aren't dangerous criminals. You want a rapist running around your neighborhood? Pedro Ornelas was convicted of sex assault. I said convicted of sex assault and rape, Minneapolis, Minnesota. Now we get a woman, Miriama Kanu from Sierra Leone, from Africa. Jesus, Biden was bringing them in from all over. Main thing was they had to be killers or rapists or I mean, God forbid they should have a degree. She has a smaller record: homicide and burglary, convictions. She killed somebody. Now we go to Abdul Qadir Sharif Abdi. Hell of a name, huh? This is going to be a long one to read. He belongs to a gang also called the Vice Lord Nation. I have no idea how big that one is. I never heard of that one. He was also arrested in the extremely dangerous Democrat city of Minneapolis, Minnesota. He was arrested for fraud, probation violations, which meant they kept letting him out, even though he was an illegal, receiving stolen property, stealing cars, and receiving a stolen car. That's Abdul Qadir. Now, we've got Abdi Gheli Mohammed. They like to be named after their perverted leader, Muhammad, because he was a mass murderer and a pedophile. Well, this guy follows right in the tradition of the leader of the Muslim religion. He's convicted of sexual abuse of a minor. F him. Sexual abuse of a minor in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And that's what Don Lemon and those people were going into the church, giving that pastor a hard time because he wants to see these people out of his city and not endangering innocent little children and women and all of us. This isn't even a close case, ladies and gentlemen. Gosh almighty, I've been involved in law and politics and all my life. I've never seen anything like this. I do not know what happened to them. Why are you arguing for these people? They're not trying to arrest nice little people who work in restaurants. They're trying to arrest people like this. The New York Times and all the lying communist bastards will not admit that Biden let in a disproportionate number of these people beyond the earlier group of illegals. They just won't admit it. So somebody's got to do the dirty job of getting rid of them to protect our children, to protect us, to protect our civilization. They want to all make us Muslims. I don't want to be a Muslim. Easy for me, I'm 81 years old. And they've attempted to kill me twice, put out any number of fatwas to kill me. I would rather die than be a Muslim. Might be the only way I get in heaven, right?
Right.
No virgins. I'm not looking for virgins. I'm not one of those guys. I know it's ridiculous. I can count. Can't possibly be 72 virgins for every male. We don't. It's about 50. It's about 49, 51 female to male. So you're not going to get 72 or 79 virgins. And with the way Bibi and Trump have been killing the Muslims, they're using up all the virgins. I mean, I would like to actually go there and make a speech to truly religious Muslims who believe that. And I'd like to say to them, you people used to be extraordinarily good, Arab, even Persian people, at arithmetic.
Right.
What they're telling you is bullshit. Muhammad just lied to you, or the hadith. It comes from a more ambiguous quotation in the Quran and a much more detailed description in the authoritative hadiths. And really, it was done so that these people would die for Muhammad. and they were told, and it becomes a little bit based on the translation or the hadith that you accept. There's no question that if you die doing jihad, now let's get jihad over with. All the stuff about jihad isn't warfare, jihad, garbage. That's exactly what it is. And if you die killing for Muhammad, if you die killing a Jew or a Christian, this is for sure. You go directly to paradise. And there will be many rewards for you in paradise. The Quran makes that really clear. And it also makes clear there'll be carnal rewards. The religion has a different paradise than we kind of posit. It's a paradise in which you're supposed to follow fairly strict sexual rules. Women do, men not so much here on earth. But up there, you can like screw your life away. And they have 72 to 79 versions for you. But then you got to figure out, how many men are there? How many women are there? And if it's 51% men and 49% women, we got to be passing around these 72 versions or these 79 versions. And finally, I don't know, giving up your life is, if you're going to give up your life for some damn version, don't you want to see it? Want to see a picture or something?
Right.
But I'm going to do this sight unseen with the arithmetic looking a little shaky from a guy who has conniptions on the floor half the time he speaks. That's when Muhammad used to fall on the ground and go. So his enemies thought he was possessed by the devil. The people he brainwashed thought that was his religious, I don't know, speaking with tongues or something. I say it probably was epilepsy. I don't know what that means. I think he was an epileptic. I think, well, at least that's what they say, if he existed. So there's hardly a guy to build a religion on. And it's right at the core of the problem here. You got to take the religion on. Otherwise, we'll be in this for the rest of our lives and our children's lives. And because they're so wrong, they're so determined, because they're irrational, like he was. And so we're going to keep you focused on that. We're not going to let up on it. We are not going to fall into Islam as a religion of peace, like hell. And the sooner the reign of terror is gone, the faster we can move toward a lasting peace in the Middle East and maybe a modern, adult, humanistic interpretation of the Quran. The problem with the Quran is there is no humanism in it. Humanism is a particular feature of the Judeo-Christian, Greco-Roman civilization, not of the Islamic civilization. Respect for the life of the human being is not the same. Right from the beginning, first book of Genesis, man is elevated and his life is elevated to something extraordinarily important. And then you go on all through the Bible, through the New Testament, the Old Testament, New Testament. It's all about the sacredness of human life, which has been horribly, horribly violated by us. And are we paying for that? I think so. But that's another story. So we'll be back tomorrow. Between now and tomorrow, things are kind of quiet right now. Something's going to happen. I want you to pray for the president this time, for sure. He did a brilliant thing today on Greenland. I don't think another president could have pulled that off in a million years. I don't think so. Look, maybe there are other things they could have done better than him, but he's right up there, babes. But he needs God. He knows that. I'm not saying this in any way that he's going to be upset, or he can't do this alone. He needs Marco, and he needs JD, and he needs all of them, Jared, and the whole group. I don't want to leave anybody out. I've just mentioned everybody, okay? But most of all, he needs our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Just one little prayer to him every night. Please help guide me. This is bigger than me. This is beyond me. Guide me. If you do it, he'll bring you through. He did it for me on 9/11. I said that prayer every night. I said it almost every day when I had to make a tough decision. Jesus, I'm not sure. Please help me. And he did. He'll help him too. And he's doing it. Pray for the people of Israel. Pray for the people of Ukraine. Please also pray for the people of China. We don't always pray for them. We really should. And Russia. Gosh. They're so suppressed. Venezuela. Oh. And so many. We've forgotten. Even the Catholic Church has forgotten the horrors of communism, emphasized to us by Our Lady of Fatima and by our early popes. Pope Leo, you're an American. Please remind everyone of the horrors of communism. You know it. I don't know. Maybe it'll turn some people off in China, or it'll turn some people off in South America, but we never let communists pick bishops. That just defies the whole early church and the martyrdom of the early church, and the thing that brought everyone to us because we were so brave. So we'll be back tomorrow, 7:00 on Lindell TV. You saw Mr. Lindell today. You might even see him tomorrow. Who knows? And he's not selling pillows anymore. He's selling the salvation of Minneapolis, Minnesota, and Minneapolis from the forces of evil. That's what he's selling. And we're right there with him, right behind him. And the president is fighting the good fight. And today was one of his best days. So God bless him, and God bless the people around him. And it was so nice how much he praised Marco. I think Marco is doing just a great job. They all are, but I'm going to pick him out today. Right. Just like I did Christy Nome the other day when they went after her. Gosh, I can't think of doing a better job than she's doing. So we'll see you tomorrow night. God bless America.
It's our purpose to bring to bear the principle of common sense and rational discussion to the issues of our day. America was created at a time of great turmoil, tremendous disagreements, anger, hatred. There was a book written in 1776 that guided much of the discipline of thinking that brought to us the discovery of our freedoms, of our God-given freedoms. It was Thomas Paine's Common Sense, written in 1776, one of the first American bestsellers, in which Thomas Paine explained, by rational principles, the reason why these small colonies felt the necessity to separate from the Kingdom of Great Britain and the King of England. He explained their inherent desire for liberty, for freedom, freedom of religion, freedom of speech, the ability to select the people who govern them. And he explained it in ways that were understandable to all the people, not just the elite. Because the desire for freedom is universal. The desire for freedom adheres in the human mind, and it is part of the human soul. This is exactly the time we should consult our history. Look at what we've done in the past and see if we can't use it to help us now. We understand that our founders created the greatest country in the history of the world, the greatest democracy, the freest country, a country that has taken more people out of poverty than any country ever. All of us are so fortunate to be Americans. But a great deal of the reason for America's constant ability to self-improve is because we're able to reason, we're able to talk, we're able to analyze. We are able to apply our God-given common sense. So let's do it.